Good morning. Good morning to you. It's Phil Thatch, and I'm here at the end of Wolf Tear Creek, where it runs into Harrison Bay and the Tennessee River and Chickamauga Lake. And my plan was to get here at sunset and be at my shooting location. Not sunset, I'm so asleep. My plan was to get here at sunrise and to be at my shooting location at sunrise. And sunrise this morning was at 7:03 and it's currently 7:30. So did not make it, but hopefully I can still get some beautiful photographs. As I often do, I have forgotten my microphones. I set every single thing up the night before, but I want to make sure that my Rode Video Micro is fully charged. So I leave it on the charger at night, and then in the morning I say, okay, I've got everything in my bag. I checked it yesterday, and I go. But actually, the microphones are still on the charger. Now we're cruising under the Highway 58 bridge and into Harrison Bay. So I'm gonna get going a little faster now, so that means I should probably put the camera up and get out to my location. Well, I've made it out here to the location that I plan to go to. I started a little bit behind this morning, but this is the middle of Harrison Bay, and in the middle of Harrison Bay, it's gonna be lens flare like crazy, but in the middle of Harrison Bay, there's a bunch of islands, and this one particular spot, some people put up a volleyball net, and now the volleyball net's not here, but the posts are still here, so it gives me something to tie to that doesn't move. And I go over to this spot. Look at all those beautiful trees coming up out of the water. This is the second year that I've done photography here, and last year I used the Z6. This year I'm using the Z50 and the kit lens, and I started out doing shots of the full trees, and I wasn't liking it too much, and it was hard to clean up the background. And in the end, I started doing just shots of the tree trunks, especially these two trees right here. And I've got a circular polarizer on the lens and a 10-stop neutral density filter, so I'm getting really long exposures to totally slick this water. The circular polarizer to darken it a little. So I'm ending up with kind of a minimalist shot that it wasn't my plan, but the shot that was my plan didn't work out, and this minimalist shot has turned out to be pretty awesome. So it's been a pretty good morning out here. Like I say, I tried to get here at actual sunset or sunrise and didn't make it. I'm so tired. I can't go to sleep at night, which makes it more difficult to wake up in the morning. But what a great location. I'm happy to be here. Heather and I have a live stream tonight, so when I go home I've got to take probably a nap, so I'm not asleep during the live stream. So I guess what I'll show you first is some of the earlier shots from this morning, the compositions that I was actually planning on doing when I came out here. Looking at this on the back of the camera, I didn't like it at all, and it would have been better if I'd gotten there a little bit earlier. There might have been more color in the sky, but now that I've had time to let it kind of settle in, I actually really like this photo, but still I worked on minimalist for most of the rest of the day. But I also worked on this shot a little bit. I just thought it would be fun to put a polarizer on so you could see through the water and see all of the stuff that grows in the Chickamauga Lake, in the areas where stuff is growing. And now I'll show you the gear for the minimalist stuff. Okay, this is my setup for today. You can see I have the Nikon Z50. The smaller of the two kit lenses, the DX16 to 50, 3.5 to 6.3, and on the front of the camera I have a 46 to 77 millimeter filter adapter, and then I have a circular polarizer and a 10-stop neutral density filter. So that's the gear I've been using this morning. One of the troubles I was having with the photographs of the entire tree instead of the minimalist shot was it's pretty windy, and the leaves were blowing around, And so when I was doing extremely long exposures trying to slick the water, it was making the trees not look so good. So that's one of the reasons why I struggled and then changed compositions. I just spotted another composition over in that direction that might be really cool, and I thought, well, gosh, it's deep water between here and over there. I'll have to get the boat over there and figure out a way to anchor it. But you know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to switch and put the 50 to 250 lens on and see if I can just make that shot from here. You know, right here the water is knee deep, but everywhere around here it's more like 5 or 6 feet, which that's too deep to walk over there with camera gear. But anyway, let's change lenses and see if I can get this shot. Well, I'm back safe and sound, floating and boating. Made a few more shots there with the long lens. I ended up, when I put the long lens on, I ended up doing more minimalist stuff. So I guess I'm in a minimalist mood, or minimalism is what's presenting itself to me today. I'm going to look around a little bit more here around the islands. You might be able to hear my depth gauge beeping. It beeps anytime I'm in less than 5 feet of water, so if you're out here, you hear that a lot. But you can kind of steer around based on where the seaweed or milfoil or whatever that stuff is that comes up out of the lake. If you don't see it at the top of the water this time of the year, it's mid-August, then it's probably deep enough for the boat. And if you do see it, it might be too shallow. I've never really done a whole lot of minimalist photography. Some of my favorite photographers on YouTube have done some minimalist stuff. Thomas Heaton does it from time to time. Brendan Vanson, Adrian Alford has done some minimalist type stuff. So I'm happy to have some minimalist type work in my portfolio now. There was really 2 or 3 trees there in the location that you could get a decent shot of, and one of them, the trunk of it, I think it had been damaged, but it had a lot more character than the others, so I kind of concentrated on it the most. But one of the trees that didn't have a lot of character, I kind of liked, just kind of from a minimalist point of view. So let's take a look at those photos. These first 2 of the minimalist section are less minimalist than the other ones, but I really like this one a whole lot, and I may have used this one as the thumbnail for this video. I haven't decided yet, and I couldn't decide on a lot of these whether to do color or black and white, and these 2 are not the same photo. The color one you just saw and the black and white one now, they're slightly different compositions, but very, very similar, and I decided to go color with the first one and black and white with the next one. And the next thing I did was I raised the camera up a little bit, and that would take care of removing the background. So now the photos are even more minimalist. And on this particular one, the tree in the foreground is the one without much character, and the tree in the background is the one with a lot of character. And now I'm switching to the longer lens, where I was going to try that composition across the lake that turned out to be not any good. And this is a 250 millimeter shot at the bottom of the tree with a lot of character. And then this next one is 125 millimeters at the tree with a lot of character, with the tree in the background with a little bit less character. I really like how this one turned out, and I ended up sharing it that night in the live stream. So it's pretty good. And then this next one is a similar but not exactly the same composition. This one at 200 millimeters of those same 2 trees, and this time I went with black and white. I made several more of these minimalist type compositions, but I picked just the ones I like the most to share with you. And this photograph here is of a beautiful flower that was growing at the boat ramp, and there's actually some of the aluminum from the boat ramp in the background, so I had to shoot this at f8. I had an f11 composition where the flower was a little sharper, but the background was too sharp, so I like the f8 better. Well, it's been a fun morning out here amongst the Harrison Bay Islands. Good times were had by all one of me. Heather's at home working right now. But hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, if you'd take 1 second and reach down and hit the thumbs up button, I sure would appreciate it. That really helps out a lot. And if you want to see some more like this and all sorts of other stuff, I have all sorts of stuff on this channel. It's mostly photography, but just all sorts of stuff. And if you want to see some of that, subscribe, hit the bell, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.